like now.
Like
Let me
right now.
Double check our audio.
Our audio,
Yeah.
387.
We're on. So it's crazy because, and then you just switch to here, and then you have Jake's lovely face.
It is a lovely face. Not as lovely as that thumbnail, though.
And then you turn off Jake's face, and then you have mine. Hello there, world.
Oh, wow.
What?
You look like a character in a low budget horror movie, and I mean that in a good way.
Dude, someone told me one time, you remember, it's not My Bloody Valentine, but it's another Valentine's Day horror movie.
See, this is a time where you would probably want to switch the camera to you.
Oh yeah, see, look, it's gonna be tough, dude.
We're learning. So I think the trick is to, you've got it layered right, but I think the trick is to keep your layer on top or my layer on top all the time.
The trick is to take this right here.
There you go.
And put that in front of my face, and then take a this and put this over here.
Well, that's a real good
idea.
idea.
You can see if we get condominiums.
I love it when we get condominiums.
Right.
It's the best part of Monopoly. Or I guess that's a hotel, isn't it?
It's something like that.
Nobody cares.
Hello, world.
Oh, that's not the app I wanted to open. Where's?
All right, so tonight we are going to be talking about Spider-Man.
But first,
Into the universe.
Into the universe?
Across the universe. Across the universe.
But first, we have an announcement. This podcast is brought to you by artemedia.org. More on that in a bit. We have a very large announcement for you. But for now, we're going to be talking specifically about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, but more kind of overarching is just Spider-Man in general and where we think it's headed.
Where it's really headed is don't listen to that guy. Nothing he says is accurate. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway.
Speaking of accuracy, though.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good now.
Oh, you got it? You got it figured out?
Check. This is why I'm good. And then, like if Jake says something.
Speaking of accuracy, though, you and I, well, actually you more than me, but you called it when we did our Spider-Man No Way Home review. You had said, I want to see a huge crossover because I would love to see, and I quote, Spider-Man 2099. And who is the main antagonist? Well, not the main antagonist, but one of the antagonists.
His name was Miguel. Miguel. What was his last name?
O'Hara.
Miguel O'Hara. And he was honestly not like the cartoon 2099. He was kind of a dick.
Well, but you know what's
interesting? Very driven.
But you know what's interesting about that, though, is the fact that technically speaking, see, this movie's beautiful because they simultaneously protect canon and make fun of it. Because if you recall, the Miguel O'Hara from this movie, Across the Spider-Verse, isn't the Miguel from that universe that he's in.
What's he from?
Remember, he said he found an alternate universe where he had a family, and he went there.
Oh yeah, because he, and then come to find out that he's not meant to be there. And what happened to that universe, Jake?
Well, Miguel alleges that universe got erased. However, I don't know. I have a couple theories on this. I don't know if he's being 100% honest, because I think a major theme of this Miguel O'Hara in this universe is resentment. Because look at it. He's trying to control everybody else around him. Now, where this kind of ties into why he's trying to prevent Miles. Now, it might be true. His universe might have been, or the universe he went to might have been erased. But in relation to him wanting to control Miles, he probably doesn't need to, because if you recall, Miles in his universe wasn't supposed to be his universe as Spider-Man, or so we're told. Which would mean that in Miles' home universe, his father doesn't have to die.
The other Miles in the universe that he ended up in at the end of the movie, which, by the way, if anyone is just new to our podcast, we jump around a lot on these reviews, so there's like really no warning for spoilers. If you haven't seen this movie, don't watch this review.
We've officially given up trying to.
There's no sense in giving you guys warnings. Like, it doesn't matter.
Well, we've given up trying to keep it on a linear timeline because it just doesn't work. See, this is like, we're having a live discussion on how we're going to set this up because this is the first night we're doing our multi-camera setup. Actually, you know what? That might be on one of us because what I think the bulk of it should be, because of how often we go back and forth, the bulk of the podcast will be on this wide shot when it's better angled. Mm-hmm. But then when one of us is going deep into something,
switch it over like
that's
this.
that's when we'll, yeah. Okay. But for now, we're playing with it. But some of you are just listening to this podcast, so you don't even know what we're talking about. Cutting? What are they cutting to?
We're doing voices.
You entertain for a minute. I'm going to try to do this real quick.
You just dance monkeying me?
Dance monkey.
That's the monkey. Make him dance. Bisexual pervert. Some of you don't get that joke, but watch the last podcast and you will. So what I was saying is I'm just going to refer to it as the Spider-Verse main universe, which is Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, and will be Beyond the Spider-Verse because that's going to be the Miles Morales trilogy. So in Miles Morales' main universe, according to Miguel, and according to Spot, was it the Spot or Spot?
The Spot.
I thought so. According to the Spot, he's the one who brought the spider that bit Miles into that universe from another one. So technically speaking, Miles' father does not die in his universe because he's already died in the universe where Miles Spider was supposed to create Spider-Man, and Miles is the Prowler in that universe. So technically speaking, nobody needs to die in Miles' universe because there's already been a change in what was supposed to happen, and the universe is still there. So that means either Miguel is wrong or Miguel is lying. Or both. He could be doing both.
I think he's lying because, honestly, the dude seems kind of sus.
Well, I can't figure out if he's lying or he's just wrong. Both are likely. And I don't know. But it's pretty obvious they set him up as... I'm not even going to say he's a full-fledged villain because that depends on whether he's wrong or lying. I think he'll be... And it's funny because I want to go with cliche Disney wisdom here, but they've really, I don't know how much involvement Disney has had with the Spider-Verse movies. I don't think a lot. I think it's been mostly Sony because they've not really been doing the same kind of things Disney's been doing. Like Kingpin was a straight up villain, which if you're familiar with Disney's most recent sort of catalog of films, they don't believe in pure villains anymore. Like they haven't had one.
What are you saying? They like believe in like everyone can be good, but some people are just kind of bad.
So they've done a very gradual change, and it's like what's the last Disney movie you saw? Like hardcore Disney movie, not like Marvel or although it's happening in Marvel too. But
I can't think of any.
Okay, I will just throw one out to the last like hardcore Disney movie I saw was. No, it wasn't Encanto. It was it Seeing Red? The one about the girl that turns into a red panda? Okay, so anyway, that's the last one. But the last couple of Disney movies haven't even had a villain at all. It's been like this weird commentary. Not weird, but it's been more of a commentary on like generational trauma, which I get what they're doing, but at the same time, it's not that the movies are bad. I actually quite enjoyed Turning Red. Is it Turning Red or Seeing? I think it's Turning Red. I actually quite enjoyed Turning Red. I thought it was hilarious. My favorite joke in that is it's very much making fun of the 90s in like a really lighthearted, tongue-in-cheek way. One of the things they did is they're a bunch of girls. They're obsessed with a boy band called Four Town, and it's written like the four and then town. There's 5 of them. And that's the first thing I said when I saw it. I'm like, there's fucking 5 of them. But
like 5 members?
Yeah, 5 members of the boy band Four Town. But 2 of them are twins. So I'm like, that's a joke inside of a joke inside of a joke.
Yeah.
Which I thought was hilarious. But the whole point of that movie, it's about this curse that I don't want to say infects, but it affects the females of this family. And once they start to hit puberty, they get the ability, they turn into a giant red panda when they get like overly emotional. It sounds silly, but it's actually it's really interesting. Now there's a ritual they can go through where they get rid of the spirit, right? But throughout the course of the movie, I want to say her name's Ling Ling, I can't remember, but she kind of figures out that she kind of likes being able to turn into, but her mother's adamant, you know. And then there's this really touching moment where her dad comes in and he's like, hey, because when she starts, she wants to get rid of it, right? She's very adamant. She wants to, well, we have to wait for a full moon or whatever it is. But then there's this really sweet moment where her dad finds like this video camera that she and her friends have been using to just like goof off with the panda shit. And he's like, you know, she's really funny. And he's talking about his daughter in the videos. And it's this really sweet, touching moment. But then by the time the film's climax rolls around, you realize there's no villain. Like, there's no negative force that you're trying to resist. It's all about just the interpersonal conflict within her family, which I get. It's interesting, but it's not very dynamic. And Disney has a history of being very dynamic films, like generally very clear-cut morality. Straightforward morality, because they're children's stories, right? Now I think they're tying into the whole millennial, they're trying to attract millennials, because kids will watch anything that's bright and colorful. And then Encanto does this even worse, which technically was first, but it's the same bit. There's no villain whatsoever. None. They make you think there's a villain, but then somewhat early in the film, you find out that this guy's not only not a villain, but he's actually one of the nicer people in the whole movie.
That's actually a perfect segue into talking about Miguel O'Hara. Because is he a villain?
That's what I'm talking about. I think this is a case of where he's going to be...
You had the Spot, but honestly, the Spot, like, he didn't seem like he was hell-bent. Like, he was kind of mad at Miles because he created him. But, I mean...
Isn't that ironic, though, how... Because that happens a lot with villains.
Yeah, they accidentally get created by their creator.
Well, they blame the hero, but then that hero gives them a purpose in life. I mean, that you could make the argument in certain incarnations. Certainly, you can make that argument with Batman and the Joker, because there are certain incarnations where Batman is directly involved in the creation of the Joker, and then he goes from somebody in those iterations. He goes from somebody that really doesn't have. It's not that he doesn't really have a calling. He's just really bad at living his life, right? And then now he has a purpose that he's good at. And Joker later acknowledges that in most of those iterations where it's like, you know, you made me. And I believe there's one version, all the nerds in the comments, let me know if I'm wrong. I think that there is a version where Joker goes so far as to say, like, I'm doing this for you because with our war, you get better. Or something like that. Like, it's a weird... And then in many more iterations, Joker is hell-bent on making Batman go against his moral code. Like, I know it's at the end of The Dark Knight Returns, Joker...
Remember the killing joke? Or what was it?
Well, that's one where Joker was trying to get him to, but at the end of Dark Knight Returns, Batman does actually end up killing Joker. But it's because Joker goes on a killing spree, and it's the only way to stop him. And it's funny because it seems like Batman wins in that incident, but Joker gets the last laugh because he says, I made you kill me.
I made you say underwear.
Bare Naked Ladies is an underrated band.
That was one of your favorite songs growing up. I remember that. You're like, I made you say underwear.
It's a funny line. Bare Naked Ladies is underrated.
Yes, they are. I think I figured it out. I think we're good. A boom boom da boom. But
I swear, you look into your camera, you look like the kid from 21 Jump Street that's gonna hear.
Oh, how he's like bouncing back and forth.
It's when he's sitting still and just staring into the camera. He's just like,
oh. I'm just gonna live stream this.
I could watch this kid for days. This is hilarious.
Just kidding.
Oh wow, there's a delay. I thought your camera was frozen.
No, but this is actually really sweet.
Speaking of which, I'm not sore, but like I'm still feeling it from Sunday.
I'm fairly certain I was sick and with a cold or something because I still feel it and it sucks because
Nah,
like,
we're just old.
no,
I've accepted it.
it had nothing to do with being old. It had everything to do with being sick.
Oh, I'm
That's
still
the
I'm still
excuse.
gonna go. Like
Well, I'm going. You ain't gonna stop me.
nothing's gonna stop me now.
But you know what's really gonna stop me? Spider-Man.
If he wants to. But going back to Miguel, I suspect that Miguel in the next movie, I predict what we will see is that Miguel will be proven wrong, and ultimately Miles doesn't have to lose his father. But I don't think Miguel's like gonna die or anything. And if he does die, it'll be because of Miguel, not because of Miles.
What you were going into earlier, though. So the spider that bit him was not from his universe, so therefore there is no correction needed.
That's what
Like,
I'm saying.
If you want to get into it.
Now this is assuming that you believe the Spot, but he doesn't really have a reason to lie about that. And it's kind of his
Spot, though, like, he seems like kind of a jokester. I feel like at the end of all this, he's going to be, haha, just kidding.
I don't know about that. He's less of like a trickster character and more like he's insane, but I don't think he's doing it for the lulz. I think he does literally, like, I believe him when he says that he just wants to be Spider-Man's nemesis and Spider-Man was making fun of him. So now he's going to give him a reason to treat him as his nemesis, which is really like, they kind of play it for laughs at the beginning, but they, in such a chef's kiss moment, you realize how dangerous this person actually is, and it flips.
They made him actually, like towards the end, like, he wasn't, like, super scary, but, like, he was a formidable opponent. He was, like, kind of, like, very intimidating. Like, when he got, like, serious.
It's what Wanda should have been in Multiverse of Madness.
Anytime I hear Wanda, all I can think of is Spawn and him falling to hell. Wanda!
But yeah, I didn't think. First of all, when I saw the trailer, I thought the Spot was just going to be a bit character. I didn't realize he was the main like antagonist of at least this movie. And looks like he and Miguel kind of share that. And I think in the next movie they will be kind of dual antagonists. What'll be really interesting though is if Miguel ends up like trying to kill the Spot, and then Miles is the one that stops him from doing that. That'll be very interesting.
That would be pretty cool.
Very Spider-Man thing to do.
The thing that annoys me about the movie was like it was actually really good towards the end, but like the first half of the movie was just like really slow.
It did seem like they were spending a lot of time on Gwen, which I think
She deserved it.
well, and not only that, I think that will serve its purpose in the next movie, so I'm not going to that's not a complaint, that's an observation.
The next movie is just gonna go balls to the walls. Just wait. I think it's gonna be crazy.
Oh, I think it's going to be absolutely insane, and I'm very excited for it. Like, Spider-Man's one of the few franchises that nobody has really fucked up yet. Not since Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I mean in like the most recent. And remember the shit almost everybody was slinging when Spider-Man Homecoming came out. It was just like, what? He's Tony Stark's buddy? Like, this isn't Spider-Man. And then you saw a glimmer of what he would become in Spider-Man Far From Home with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. You saw a glimmer of what he was going to become in Spider-Man Far From Home. And then by the time No Way Home comes around, No Way Home solidified my opinion. It's like, okay, at least when it comes to Spider-Man, I'm going to wait and see on everything because that payoff was totally worth it. And now you go back and watch, like, because I watched Homecoming not that long ago, and knowing what I know now, it totally works. It was different. It's not how we were used to seeing Spider-Man, but same thing with Miles Morales. Like, I think I even said on here, when I first saw Enter the Spider-Verse, I didn't hate it, but I didn't care for it. And then I watched it again, and now I'm like, okay, now I get it. And then especially after this movie, I totally get what they were doing with the setup for Miles Morales. I totally get. And what's funny is it's a commentary on the character in and of itself. Because do you remember when Miles was debuted in the comics? It wasn't that long ago. I think it was maybe 10 years ago. And everybody was like, "That's not Peter Parker's Spider-Man. That's not Spider-Man." And
we were saying this in the movie. We're like, were we?
It's that not everybody was a Peter Parker.
Yeah, because in the movie, one of the Spider-Men, there's like, "Oh, I'm Peter Parker." It's like, yeah, everyone here is, and it's like, no, you're not. One's Ben Riley.
Oh my God, such a great Easter egg for us as the.
I guarantee there was another Spider-Man 2099 alike, so I guarantee there was another Miguel O'Hara.
Unless Miguel killed them all. I don't think your button's working, buddy.
It is.
Is it? Oh, I see. Never mind. I'm looking at the wrong spot.
I got us.
You got us. Yeah, he's got
us.
Oh, well, you want to show everybody our sweet little control board?
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
if it'll. You can switch to the wide angle.
Here. Oh, I got to actually show me first. How about that? It's a new Stream Deck.
Worked even better than I thought it would.
And
because we're investing in the show because we love you. Like, we don't love you. Like, we don't like love you.
I love you.
But we love you.
We've got 3 views so far. It's like I figured switching back and forth like this.
It's new, and it's not the best setup. Like, we've already got an idea for a better setup that I think everybody else will enjoy. But
it's not the best setup yet.
Yeah, we'll get it there though. But everybody, we have been told it's like, well, it'd be more interesting if you had like cuts, and I'm like, okay, we listen. And now you watch somebody be like, you guys are cutting too much, because that's what people on the internet do.
You know what else they do? They bitch and whine. It's hot.
No, that's just what you do.
Door open.
That's just what you do. They also come together. They also come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
You know what else they do? Come together.
It's not much cooler out there.
I know, but at least a little bit of air because I've got my Johnny 5 going. Nah.
So, but anyway, like I was saying about Miles Morales, so. The first movie, and especially this one, are commentaries on the fan reaction, the initial fan reaction to Miles Morales, because everybody was like, I think there were some people that were saying, like, everybody was like, not my president. It was like, not my Spider-Man. And this movie even this movie was like one step away from being like, see, we told y'all motherfuckers, Miles Morales can be, because he's a different Spider-Man. And he's not a Peter Parker ripoff. Miles Morales is just, and which is crazy because if you remember, like we talked about Scarlet Spider, he was way older than Miles Morales. Now, granted, he was a crossover, he was a tie-in with Peter Parker's Spider-Man, correct?
That's Ben O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Or Ben Riley.
Ben Riley.
But actually, Ben Riley is the original in his universe, and the clone is Peter Parker. Remember?
I don't remember.
Because Ben Riley, Scarlet Spider, had issues with that. That's why he was Scarlet Spider, not Spider-Man.
Well, but that was in animated series, right?
I believe there was some comics to do with it as well.
I'm sure there were.
I've only the 94 cartoon series.
Well, okay, so we'll go based on what we know. So, but like in the animated cartoon series, how was Scarlet Spider introduced? Because I can't remember. You're switching the wrong view, buddy.
No, I wasn't talking yet. I think he was introduced as when they were hopping universes.
Right, but so this is going to go into some weird quasi-existential territory, but so as far as we the viewers were concerned, Peter Parker was the main universe. So all the other universes are ancillary from our perspective. So as far as the show is concerned, like you said, in Ben Riley's universe, he was the original and Peter Parker was a clone of him. That's irrelevant to us that are watching the main Peter Parker. which gets into this whole bitch about multiverse theory because everybody thinks they're the.
Actually, I need to explain something. Ben Reilly actually was Peter Parker first, but the thing is, he got confused and he was not sure if he was the clone or the original, so he just went ahead and changed his name completely to Ben Reilly. That's why his name is Ben Reilly. I forgot about that.
Huh. That gets into some. Have you watched Invincible yet?
With Bruce Willis?
No, that's Unbreakable. Invincible,
I always
the cartoon.
say that. No, I have not.
You need to, because you'll understand why I chuckled a bit there because of the Mauler twins. They're actually, by this point, they're both clones, but part of the cloning process in the Invincible universe is that neither one knows, because they make a complete duplicate copy of their brain, essentially, when they make the clone. Neither one knows whether they're the original or the clone, because they're an exact
Is this
duplicate.
Marvel?
No, this is Robert Kirkman.
Oh, Walking Dead.
Yeah, that Robert Kirkman. But it's a animated series on Amazon, which is so good. It's so good.
I'll have to check it out, and it's animated, right?
Yep.
Okay.
It's very good. But yeah, so Miles Morales. It's like the creators of this movie franchise are saying, you know, they're telling us in a non-forceful manner. Well, actually, they're not telling us. They're showing us that Miles Morales can, should, and will be a great Spider-Man. You just gotta give him a chance, Miguel.
Like this. Or how'd that go? He's like, just give him a chance, man.
Well, and then they've also managed to shoehorn, and I say shoehorn in a tongue-in-cheek way, not literally, but we also now have Spider-Woman, Spider-Gwen, who I think got a much more receptive, because A, they did the character very well. They didn't, like, she's good, but she's not better than everybody else. In fact, there are some Spider-Man iterations that are better than she is. Now, she got a little bit of a Mary Sue moment, but that's explained in the story because Miles Morales is new and Peter B. Parker has been slacking for years. So it makes sense that the most active Spider...
Did you just say Peter B. Parkin?
No, Peter B. Parker.
So, it sounded like you said Peter B. Parkin.
No, Peter B. Parker. I think I said Peter B. Parker been slacking.
Peter.
Oh my God, Peter.
We literally looked through this entire movie waiting for Uncle Ben to die, and
specifically the Tobey Maguire Uncle Ben, because you called the shot too early. I forget which one you saw, but I think it was Andrew Garfield's, and I'm like, no, that's not Tobey's. But once we saw they were putting live action in there, we were like, oh, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And sure enough, there he is on like the middle left corner. Peter.
Who was the guy in the cage that was real? He was a real person. He wasn't animation. Was he from Black Panther? Or what was he from? I can't remember.
So, wasn't that Donald Glover?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I don't know. I don't know where he's from, but I guarantee you, like, they did that on purpose. They made sure you saw that. So that's a plant for something big. I'm wondering if he's going to end up being, because we talked about this during, I think this is going to be a way where they can tie not just Spider-Man or the Spider-Verse into the MCU. They've already integrated Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield into the MCU, at least partially. We now know it's possible. This might be how they get Miles Morales into the MCU, though, and perhaps... Now, he wasn't a version of Spider-Man, though. He was some kind of villain. I thought, because they were going to send him back to his universe.
Who was a villain?
Donald Glover. The first live action person we saw.
Hold on, wasn't Donald Glover his character in the MCU? Wasn't he The newest movie we watched.
Newest MCU movie?
No, it wasn't the newest MCU movie. It was what was it? He was good friends, supposedly, with Doctor Strange. It was the Doctor Strange movie. In the movie, he was supposedly good friends with the Doctor Strange, and then he ended up wanting to kill him.
No, that's not Donald Glover.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm gonna
Humana. Hey, just look at the camera and mouth some words.
Oh no, he was. Oh God, I'm stupid.
Yes.
He was the Prowler in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh, right.
Okay, so maybe that's not a future plant. That was an Easter egg reference. That's a good one though. That's very good. Speaking though of, well, not an Easter. Well, there were a lot of Easter eggs in this. For one thing, we saw all of our friends from Into the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Black Noir, Spider-Ham. I forget what the anime version was. The little girl who lost her robot.
What about
Spider-Chan?
who was the was it Scarlet Spider that was like emo?
Yes. Oh my God, that shit was hilarious.
He's just like, oh, life is depressing. I don't know what he said, but that stuff was funny.
I got more of a Rorschach vibe from him.
Absolutely.
Very like a comedic Rorschach, but still very in that vein.
Which honestly, I know Watchmen sort of picked up. That is way underrated movie. Like the actual movie, it's like 4 hours long, but like I can watch it. It's so good.
You're talking about the director's cut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen the director's cut. I want to now because you told me it's really good, and I like the theatrical cut well enough, so I do want to watch that. I heard the show wasn't very good though.
I have not watched it.
Yeah, I can't.
That was I did actually there was an adaptation of a movie. Do you remember back in like 95, 96, there was a movie called 12 Monkeys with Bruce Willis?
Yes.
Fantastic movie. But anyway, they did a TV version of that in like 2012, 2013. It's pretty damn good. And I was happy with it. It was pretty good.
Speaking of Easter eggs though, I would encourage people take a really good hard look
at my cock.
at the thumbnail for this episode. There's a couple of interesting Easter eggs in there. It's kind of a Where's Waldo of Spider-Man. There's a couple of fairly, not necessarily obscure, but like for example, I'll give you a hint. The live action Japanese Spider-Man is in that thumbnail. As is everyone from Into the Spider-Verse. And there's a couple of fun ones in there.
That's my cock.
Nice cock.
I can't even get it. The ring light's too powerful. But what were you saying?
I said, have a good time. Check out our thumbnail because it.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time on that, and it looks really cool. Like honestly, it reminds me of the scene where all three of the Spider-Men are swinging in No Way Home.
Yeah, but you'll notice that I don't know what you call it, our new Spider buddy, like we've become Spider fans of, is Indian Spider-Man.
He stole the show for us.
He really did. I was like, I'm kind of into Indian Spider-Man. Not like into Indian, but you know what I mean.
No, he's in.
Like I'd watch that show. If they did an Indian Spider-Man animated
they should.
series.
Like what? Come on. India. Get on this.
They'd probably be all over it, I would think. And I love the fact that he's like so effortlessly good at it just to piss Miles off in the story.
Yeah.
But he's so good, and he was funny, and at the same time,
he had great hair.
Awesome
for
hair.
a cartoon.
He had awesome hair. I kind of want to see more of Indian Spider-Man, and I think we will.
I want to see more of Spider-Punk.
Oh, I hated that fuck. First, I'm just gonna address the elephant in the room.
Yeah, that's the reason I brought this up, because you were the one in the movie theater. You're like, oh gosh, here's the communist.
He is a fucking communist.
By the way, this is not kid friendly. So if you are not old enough, that's on your parents.
Yeah. YouTube is the Wild West. But since you brought up Spider-Punk, you will notice Spider-Punk is not in the thumbnail. There's 2 reasons for that. 1, I didn't like him at all. Not at all. And 2...
He's a fascist.
And number 2, which this ties into the character, he wouldn't have wanted to be in the group shot because he's just too good for it, man.
When Miles was escaping, he was proud. And you could tell, because he was like, yeah, going against the system, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, but like a true leftist bitch.
When the going got tough, he got going.
Yeah, he was awful proud, but did he help? No. Instead, he just sat there and been like, that's right, man. Now, the elephant in the room, there were a couple of race swaps in this movie. Spider-Punk being one of them. Mm-hmm. Maybe not in the newer iterations, but Spider-Punk's actually older than I thought.
Which actually, that one didn't really bother me, because honestly, like...
None of them...
Not gender swaps, but race swaps, like, it's not really anything to do with race. It's just different from knowing a character. But, like, his was perfect because, I mean, he was British. He was older. And then, so what era did he come from? He came from the punk scene.
That's where Spider-Punk came from.
I know, but that's the cool part about Spider-Punk is he came from the punk scene. And he was just a black Brit. And he was pretty badass, in my opinion, except for the communism shit.
He wasn't badass at all, though.
Would you consider that communism?
Yes. Okay. Oh, he's definitely a socialist, at the very least, if not a full-blown communist. And here's why he sucks, truly. Now, I just want to drive something home. None of the race swaps in this movie were a problem. I only pointed out because I know why they did it, and it's the reason why they did it, not so much that they did it, that I have a problem with, which it's just pandering. But again, with a character like Spider-Man, first of all, he's covered from head to toe, so the race isn't necessarily obvious, with the exception of I'm going to call her Spider Biker. Like, I don't remember her fucking name.
The lamest character of the movie.
Who is also a moron, because she
can web swing and she's riding a freaking motorcycle.
Well, that's not even that. The fact that she's very pregnant.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, shame on Peter Parker for taking your baby into dangerous things when you could just give the baby off to the mother, who's still very much alive. Which I thought his Mary Jane died.
No, she didn't die. She just divorced him. But then they got back together and had said Spider Baby.
Okay.
Where was it going? Oh, so why does Spider-Punk suck ass? Like we said, full-blown socialist. I get the sense that he's one of these people, like a lot of not to get into politics, but like a lot of leftists, he sits there and bitches, moans, and whines, but doesn't do much of anything. And especially when, you know, the whole great power, great responsibility that's, you know, like central to the Spider-Man ethos. What has he done? Other than just brooding the shadows to be like, yeah, mate, you left your sweater in my house. It's probably not even my house.
You know who he reminds me of?
Who?
Joe Biden.
No, but Joe Biden doesn't even have...
Actually, no, I'm sorry. Joe Biden hasn't put in any of the work. I was like, Spider-Punk actually has put in a little bit of the work.
What work?
Get fed.
What work has Spider-Punk put in? Spider-Punk and Bernie Sanders are the same person. It's just one of them can climb walls.
I don't know. I just like Spider-Punk.
God, I hate Spider-Punk so much.
Punk music is my favorite, so...
Yeah, man, we're fighting the system. We're fighting the system by playing music, but not charging admission. And, like, since we don't make any money, we can't get our music out there, right?
Is that terrible accent supposed to be me?
No, it's supposed to be Spider-Punk. Nobody gives a fuck. Except the... And here's another thing about Spider-Punk. How old would you say that fucker is?
Oh, easily 46.
46?
He looked old.
Oh, come on. conservatively, he's pushing 30. Yeah. How old is Gwen Stacy in that movie?
17, 15, 16. He wasn't coming on to her.
She stayed at his house, man.
So?
Come on.
Dude.
Come on.
They are spider buddies.
Spider buddies? Is that what they...
Spider buddies. Spider buddies.
Is that what we're calling it now?
That is what we're calling
Family
it.
Guy has had 2 of the best Spider-Man jokes ever. The first one being the everybody gets one. He's like, wow, thanks, Spider-Man. Everybody gets one. And then when it cuts to Spider-Man and that girl in bed and she's got a web on her, he's just like, it just happens sometimes.
Premature webbing.
Which we've all made that joke in our minds. So when Seth MacFarlane did it, we were all just like.
Which, come to think of, Seth MacFarlane is a genius.
He really is. And, well, either that or he's got disposal, or he's got a lot of really smart manatees at his disposal. Both of which could be true.
Who wrote Spawn? I know it's MacFarlane. What's the first name? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
I think it's MacFarlane. I think it's like...
Hey, Jamie.
Hey, Jamie. I'm fairly certain it's...
I think you're 100% right, though.
I know it's MacFarlane. I want to say it's Todd McFarlane.
Al Simmons. Oh, sorry. No, that's the character's name.
Al Simmons.
Stupid. Todd McFarlane.
Todd. Old Toddy Todd.
Yeah. But like you've said before, I think we're ready for a new Spawn movie.
And honestly, we could... Michael J. White, he could reprise it, and I would be just okay with it because honestly, he's still a badass.
Well, and has the dude really aged all that much? Not, I mean, obviously he's gotten older, but
he still fights daily. Well, I don't know about daily.
He still trains. It's obvious he still trains.
Yeah. Because you said you watched Arrow, correct?
The first couple of seasons, yes.
Oh, really?
I don't think I saw when he came into the show.
He came into... I mean, he's in the show, I think, before. But Oliver Queen goes to prison in, like, the 5th or 8th season, I can't remember. And Michael J. White is in there. Dude, it's insane. Like... Yeah,
that whole aspect, don't get me wrong, I appreciated the different kind of storytelling they were doing but it was the constant present day and flashback, and it's like eventually they're going to have to converge and you're going to run out of shit.
Yeah.
And it did feel, once he got off the island, it started to feel a little forced. But you can't...
Because every time the show opened up, it was like, my name is Oliver Queen, and I spent 5 years in hell. And then the next season, it'd be like, my name's Oliver Queen, and I spent 4 years in hell, but I was off the island for 1 year. And it's like, so...
Yeah.
What? I was like, I get it from a storytelling position.
Up to a certain point. Like, I still maintain...
It was still a freaking fantastic
show.
Man, just like Gotham.
The first season of Arrow is almost perfect. Especially the season finale. I loved the last episode of season 1 of Arrow.
Dude, you have failed this city.
It was cool. Now, I disagree with you 100% on Gotham, but we've been down that road. We know. Yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea.
The Batman movie was so good.
Oh, my God. This bullshit again. I will admit, many people disagree with me on various things. Although, it is worth noting, I responded to a Facebook post because I couldn't help myself. This has been some time ago, but it was like, who's an actor that everybody loves and you just can't stand? So, you know who I put down. You know how many women agreed with me? Liked my comment on that?
Probably tons because
So
there's
many.
something in the way.
Yeah, his pussy.
You don't care about the kids.
I didn't come here for a scissor fest.
So what is it like? Just scissoring? Oh, scissor me timbers.
I got you a couple times at Kings Island with the Mr. Garrison.
Right. Uh-oh. Kitties are here. Give me a second. Yep. You're good. She's all right.
I'm gonna sit in your chair.
Hi.
It's my show now. Except it's on. It's my show now. I can say whatever I want. Actually, this is perfect time to share with you the announcement talking about the sponsor of this show. Sponsor of this episode is www.artemedia.org, which is the central hub of the Arate Podcast Network. And we have a huge announcement. The first new and independent podcast on the Arate Podcast Network will be posting their debut episode later this month. And I'm just going to confirm the date really quick. Very, very exciting news. Friday, June 16th, the debut episode of Part of Your Broadway World will debut on YouTube and will be shortly available across all audio podcast platforms and on aratemedia.org. Now, aratemedia.org is where you can see all the podcasts on our network in one very convenient location, as well as additional content such as our blog, where all podcasters can contribute if they so choose. Also, you can see the complete history of the All Events Welcome Championship. Those of you that have been hanging in with the podcast for a long time know exactly what that is. That is also where we will be showcasing the new championship when it is available. Yeah, I took your chair.
Did you switch your channel? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did. I didn't at first. I was talking to nothing. But
You want to get a feel for it? All you got to do is just press the Jake button, and
Yeah,
it'll
I
switch
see
back
that.
and forth between us.
And then also, all of the audio streaming episodes can be accessed in one convenient location. So check out aratemedia.org and check out Part of Your Broadway World if you are a fan of Disney, Broadway, or both.
I love Disney.
Huh?
This is like really like way up on you. Like I guess you do sit kind of a little
Yeah, I do sit back.
little shorter.
I do sit
Hello.
back. always.
This is different. I feel like I'm being interviewed.
I mean, that is what we're doing, is it not?
Don't cut my head off, sir.
Damn it, I was going to say something funny and I just lost it.
You know what's really funny?
What's really funny?
I don't know. Matt Rife. That dude is insanely funny. Have you heard of him?
Who the fuck is Matt Rife?
Dude, look him
Wait,
up.
is he that?
Yes, the pretty boy comedian
Yeah,
who's like
oh, okay.
has the best crowd work ever. Like better than anybody, like better than Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to get that one.
Yeah.
But like you got to go through and press all kinds of different
You know what?
buttons
This
to get it.
isn't half bad, though.
No,
It could
because
be.
honestly, if we just move the ring lights, but the camera's got to be in position.
Oh, Hydro.
Yo, Hydro. Overrated, just like Morgan Wallen. I cannot say I disagree with you there. I'm not a big fan of country.
Oh, shit.
I don't hate it, but just not a big fan.
So wait, who are you talking about with Jenna Ortega? I did not see when that comment was posted.
Walter White. I feel like all that just got posted like quickly.
Yeah, I would think so. I didn't notice it before.
I don't know why I'm leaning over there. I can read just fine.
Apparently, we turned into a Minecraft village.
We did?
That's what he said. Overrated, just like Morgan Wallen. All right, let's switch back. This is weird.
Minecraft villagers? I'm back. Na 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 na. Jake's back. Na 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 na. See, I'm
No,
fairly,
Jake's black.
I'm fairly decent at this. See?
Once you get the codes in your head, you kind of.
Yeah, and then you just allow people to chat, and then you change it to Gollum's face.
I choked on it. You choked on it, precious.
Oh, I shot something up my nose. That's what.
Oh gosh, like this podcast can't get any worse,
Yeah. I don't know. We've had some bad ones.
dude. I shut the damn door. Not the door. It's fine. We shall suffer. We will sweat our titties off.
Oh, could drown Gilbert.
So
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man into the universe.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Across the universe.
Keep
Damn
saying
it. Go watch it.
Spider-Verse.
It's good.
It's a Spider-Verse.
I'm a Spider-Verse.
It is a...
You know, technically the song,
What song?
the Spider-Man song, you know.
Which one?
It's gone the Spider-Man.
Okay, yeah.
There are Spider-Verses in it.
You're not wrong.
I usually am not wrong.
That's why it's funny. It's funny because it's true. So, did you hear the rumor? Well, it's not a rumor. Did you hear the assertion that in Across the Spider-Verse, Gwen Stacy is transgender?
What?
Allegedly there is a group in the trans activist community.
Like the person that we watched on this last movie is transgender?
No, I don't think that is true, but there is a group of trans activists that are asserting, because of her color scheme and the fact that I guess there's some, I didn't see it, I was told it was in the trailer, she has a Protect Trans Kids sticker somewhere on her wall, which is not in the movie, nor is it in international trailers. Wonder why. But because of that, they are alleging not that Gwen Stacy is an ally of the LGBT community, which would make a lot more sense, but that she is in fact transgender, which would mean it's Glenn Stacy.
Hold on. Where's Negan? Glenn Stacy?
That's me. That's my joke.
I know that was your joke, but still that's funny because literally if Jeffrey Dean Morgan really wanted to have fun with that, he could be like, ugh, or I don't know, however, I can't do his voice.
I can do his voice in mannerism, but not sound like him. It's so hard.
Because he has like this nasally in the bottom of his throat voice.
Well, god damn, you know.
I fixed your boy spaghetti.
I still love it. I used to piss my ex off so much with this. Little pig, let me in.
Dude, the best is when he's talking to the heavyset girl. He's like, what do you say we bump uglies? Or he says something like that. And she smacks him. And he's just like, he just stares at her like.
What does he say? Didn't he say something that's like, I am 90% more turned on by you now, or something like that?
Negan's a masochist.
No, Negan's just a
Look at your damn chat. Oh! That's my nephew.
Yeah, I know who it is. I just don't know what he's talking about.
If you want, I have a stream deck.
We already have one.
Yeah. It's raw hair. It's raw hair now.
We're just getting used to using it.
Yeah.
And we admit this setup's not 100% ideal, but I think we have an idea.
This setup is not going to stay.
I don't think we need a big one per se. I just think we need to figure this one out. But appreciate it.
Maybe you should. There are 15 buttons on this thing, so
maybe you should. I don't know what you would talk about, but maybe you should start a podcast and join the Arate Podcast Network. Just saying.
Yeah, Chris.
Oh, speaking of which, Nick reached out to me again, so we may.
Oh, Nikolai.
Yeah, we may finally have our horror-themed podcast joining us.
I would definitely come on there and talk some horror every so often.
I'd talk some
That'd
horror.
Be funny. Fun.
Horror fun.
He had nothing to say. Shut up, Jake. Okay, so
listen, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying I'm a big horror fan.
Dude, I don't even have to edit, and I can make this shit funny if I want.
Yes, you can. Technically, you're live editing.
No, fuck him. Don't talk that.
You are technically editing, though. It's just live editing. That's literally how. So, like, if you're seeing a live sports broadcast, there's just a massive one of those motherfuckers with about probably a good half dozen people just cutting between, and they have a really similar delay. Actually, there's just 7 seconds on broadcast. So
You know, I can actually program a button on here to mute one of our mics.
that's hilarious.
Could you imagine? Just be like, shut up, click.
Those things are awesome.
Dude, I'm definitely going to put some type of oddball button on here, and next Platinum is just going to throw him for a loop. He's going to be like, what? Trash cans. Trash cans.
Garbage cans? It's going to be fun. Let's see. What else? So first, much like Into the Spider-Verse, admittedly, I wasn't crazy about the art style in the first one, but it has grown on me, and it looked awesome in this. And did you notice that each Spider-Verse had a slightly different art style?
Yes.
Like-
Actually, I did.
Like Gwen had more of a watercolor feel. Miles still had a comic book feel. What would you say Indian Spider-Man's art style looked like? India?
His art style?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of his
It just looked like Indian.
I don't know what
clothes.
you call that. I know what it is in my head. I've seen like paintings from
To
the
me,
area.
it looked like he was just wearing a mask similar to Star-Lord's.
a little bit.
Obviously, it wasn't mechanical. It was just fabric or whatever it was. But it just, I don't know. It was just fabric.
How'd you feel about Gwen's Peter Parker turning into the Lizard?
That was hilarious.
It
Because the thing is, in most iterations, whether Peter Parker is Spider-Man or not, he's still a nerd. Like
Yeah.
for the most part. Like there's
No, he's
one
still
where
a
he's an
nerd.
actor.
That's true. Yeah.
Bigger than mine. That's what she said. He says, "Nah, I'd get banned."
I thought it was interesting. That's another scene where I feel like we may have it was important because it had to show the friction between Gwen and her dad, but I think that scene went along a little too long. But
That scene was so out of pocket. It was like almost too much. I was like, dude, you're really gonna arrest your daughter? Like, you're not gonna like just listen to her, like know that she's done good?
like it honestly makes sense. That's another thing. I've never understood how people can in any universe can look at what Spider-Man does and be like, "Oh, he's a bad guy." I guess it's a commentary.
J. Jonah Jameson, unfortunately, is a genius. I don't think he hates Spider-Man because the thing is, this is just one adaptation, but the movie in the extra scenes, or the deleted scenes, he was wearing the spider suit, and he's, like that.
That was funny.
But then, and then he ends up saying, he's like, "Oh, Spider-Man was a hero. I just was too stupid to see it." And then he steals the suit, and he's like, "He's a menace." Blah, blah, blah. So the thing is, he respects him, but
never mind.
he gets paid from him.
Well, there's not only that. I think
People buy Spider-Man.
Well, J. Jonah Jameson is a commentary on
J. Jonah Jameson.
J. Jonah Jameson. J. Jonah Jameson is a commentary on just massive media,
Yeah.
and even in the most recent iteration, I'm not wrong. That was a clear in No Way Home. That was a clear reference to Alex Jones. J. Jonah Jameson in No Way Home.
Just his setup, the way the
fact that it's
webcam.
online.
Yeah, and then the like scrolling stuff on the side. Yeah.
Well, and then
Minus
they
the breaking of stuff.
Well, but they did a gag of him selling supplements too. Like that was the nail in the coffin for me. Was when he's like selling supplements. I'm like, oh, that's Alex Jones.
You know, if there's one actor in movies that I just haven't looked into him, but like J.K. Simmons, I don't know his political stance, and I'm very comfortable with that.
If I had to venture a
I would
guess,
rather not know big celebrities.
I'd rather not know any celebrities' opinions, but it's worth noting J.K. Simmons plays Omni-Man in Invincible, and might be the best act. And like this is saying a lot because there's not really a bad actor in Invincible. He might be, well, I'm not gonna say the best actor, but the best performance because the way he plays Omni-Man is just so like it's perfect. Perfect.
He's like, "Stop the cap."
Don't.
I got a stream deck. I don't want Stop the Cat, but I'm gonna like, my thing is like when I hear a conspiracy theory that came true, is I'm just like weird, and I want to be able to put that on here, like weird.
Funny that.
It is fucking hot in here. Well, I'm going to go play my game and drink peace, y'all. You gonna drink peace? Did you misspell piss?
I think he did.
He's gonna drink piss, y'all.
He's going to drink peace. He's going to drink French piss. Peace.
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 Pieces. Reese's
Was
Pieces.
that not such a weird moment in DBZ when Frieza starts randomly using a French phrase? He's like, one final pièce de résistance.
Yeah, right. It's like, so you've been to Earth? Because that's where that came from, you shithead.
Specifically France?
It ain't Bud Light, so I'm good. Okay. Good night, Dylan.
Oh gosh. Let's see what else.
Anywho.
So I'm proud of this joke, and I can't remember the name of this version of Spider-Man, but it's supposedly the first openly gay Spider-Man, and his costume. No, you'll appreciate this joke. So, this has been years ago, and he was getting introduced in the comics, and I cannot remember his name. I apologize. Somebody can comment, but and I think the headline of the article was something like, "You've had the Amazing Spider-Man, now you have the first openly gay Spider-Man." Blah blah blah. So I put in the comments, I put the fabulous Spider-Man. I was proud of that. Because I don't care if Spider-Man's gay. I couldn't give a shit less. It's just, don't ruin the character. Like you did with...
Oh, shit, I broke a nail.
Like you did with Spider-Punk. Just shoving your political ideology up in my superheroes.
Well, I mean, dude, that's the reason I respect it so much is because that's how, like, a lot of the punk scene is. They're for that shit, and I don't agree with it. I just like the music.
Well, and that's fine, but here's my other problem with Spider-Punk. So, solely looking at the character, right? Would anyone with that similar, like...
He looked like Lenny Kravitz.
He did kind of look like Lenny Kravitz. But would anybody of that, like, socio-political ilk, would he go out of his way to save a billionaire, let's say? No, and that's the problem. That's the problem with that kind of ideology.
Because almost any iteration of Spider-Man protects anyone. Doesn't matter what they've done.
Going so far as to trying to save the villains, unless it's just not possible. And usually the villains end up directly or indirectly killing themselves. Now, there are hints of, like, Peter in No Way Home wanted to off Green Goblin.
Peter.
And then Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker alludes to he stopped pulling his punches, which I really want to see that movie.
I mean, if that dude is pulling his punches, or he's not pulling his punches, I'm just saying, Spider-Man, he's very, very strong, and he is very, very good at keeping his power.
Well, let's remember that Tom Holland's Spider-Man in Homecoming lifted the rubble of a concrete building off of himself. Dead weight. So I imagine that if he punched you with no holding back, I imagine your head's vaporized.
One thing about Spider-Man, though, is obviously he has muscles, and now that like his DNA is integrated with the Super Spider DNA, imagine if he actually worked out instead of just swinging all the time, swinging. I mean, and whatnot, and climbing walls. He's building up his stamina and essentially doing cardio, so he stays very thin. Imagine if there was some type of training that he did, and he just got stronger and stronger and stronger. I think he could become strong as shit.
You know what? I don't know that would work for him, because remember, and they allude to this in the comics as well, but specifically citing the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, he put that muscle mass on overnight. So I'm not sure I'm sure he could train to a certain extent,
that, like, okay, think about
Or
it.
that actually, you know what? I take that back because that probably just modified his genetic base normal.
No, I think what you said made a lot of sense, because if you think about it, a dog, cat, let's see, even a spider in the wild, not domesticated, are they fat?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
well,
therefore,
but
when he gained that mass, that was so he could perform like he's supposed to, and then that's probably where he's just gonna stay at.
well, but you also don't have animals in the wild that would do what you consider training. So I think
True.
I think there's elements of both, but I do like.
Gotta get on me about that. I'll forget
Oh well, whatever.
if you see it.
That's why I think when we reset it up, the wide angle will be
Yeah.
the most common. But then when one of us goes on a diatribe,
Just
because then it's still flowing and all that. But yeah, like I said, I think that the spider bite just changed Peter's DNA, and that's his new like base normal genetic.
His DNA test came back. He's 100%. That
No, he's 100%. I missed the part where that's my problem. Who doesn't love Bully Maguire?
my nephew. The reason I knew it was him is because he texted me. He says, "Look at your damn chat."
Oh no, he's commented before.
I know, but we didn't see his chat because it's on the right side of me.
I did not see his
It's over
chat.
here.
Dude, have we been like shadow banned or something?
I don't know, because we've had like essentially 0 concurrent viewers.
Oh, it's also a
except for
Friday night.
subscribers.
It
Fuck
is a
you,
Friday
night. Listen, you don't need to go out and go to the party. We bring the party to you.
The
Crack
party.
open your cold Pepsis and drink them and sit back and watch.
Dude, I just had a thought, and you know how awesome this would be? What if we got hired to write the revival of Space Ghost Coast to Coast? That may be the most fun job I could think of.
Everybody loves Space Ghost.
Everybody near and far. Now, I wonder if that a revival of Actually, they could revive Cartoon Planet too. That'd be easy.
I don't understand. Okay, nostalgia. Like, nostalgia is huge right now. Why is Nintendo, of all things, not capitalizing on this right now? I understand. But listen, you're like, oh, what do you mean?
I don't know where you're
So,
going with this.
think about this. You've got the Nintendo Switch. It's got a lot of the retro games on it, right? Man, you could make more money off us freaking millennials by making more Super Nintendos, more 64s. We will buy them, and if you reissue games that are like legit Nintendo, we will buy them.
I would imagine that.
I would.
Well, but I would imagine in this day and age, cartridges are much less cost effective than just digital content.
Because back before the Nintendo 64, they were thinking about going to disc, but they didn't, because they wanted to stay to the cartridge because that's what everybody knew and loved.
Well, I don't think that was the only reason. I think, wasn't there something to do with
It had something to do with the music, and that's why Sony was
it's
actually no, that was a Sega, right?
I believe so. It had something to do with the amount of storage, though. I don't think discs were quite.
Yeah, because you can only fit like, I think like 256 or maybe 512 megabytes on a Nintendo 64, I believe, or maybe that's a Super Nintendo.
No, I think that's Super Nintendo, because N64 was 64-bit graphics. You need a little bit more than that, I
Right.
would think. And then, ironically, the GameCube had the tiny discs, and at the time it looked incredible.
I'm just gonna say,
Not a,
I am downloading GameCube games that I own, and playing them through an emulator, which I own a system, and they're not very big. They're only like they're only maybe like a couple.
not by
megabytes. Or
not
like
by
20
really. Oh,
yeah,
well.
they're not big at all.
I was gonna say not by today's standards, no. But
No, because everything's terabyte or what is it? Yeah, something like that, or petabyte.
are they that big now?
Yeah.
God damn it. But
Terabyte hard drives aren't even keeping up anymore.
That's sad. But that what's the name of the Spider-Man game that you played on your PC and it's
Ultimate Spider-Man, I believe. Here, let me just.
and it's freaking gorgeous.
Oh, it's amazing. Where is it? And actually, who am I on? I'm on me. It is Marvel's Spider-Man remastered. So
It
yeah,
is gorgeous.
it's his dearly. It's not delicious.
So let's see. Can you remember all the cameos that we got in the movie? All the scene we saw everybody from. We saw everybody from Into the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw Ben Reilly. Obviously, we covered him. Did not see a symbiote Spider-Man, although I think we saw like a flashback of one. I think we saw Tobey Maguire's symbiote.
Well, because any iteration that's going to have symbiote Spider-Man, he's going to have already probably been through that
yeah.
and got rid of it.
Oh, valid point. And they probably wouldn't have let him into the Spider Sanctum.
Yeah. Because, unfortunately, Venom, while he does make the host more powerful, he also corrupts their mind, so...
Yeah. Although, speaking of Venom, we did see the Spot take a peek into the Venomverse for a moment when he popped into the convenience store.
He talked to Miss Chin.
Yes, he did. And that's why she wasn't phased, because she's seen Venom eat dudes' heads.
She was not scared at all. She's like, who are you?
I thought that was... Not only was that funny, but that was just like... That's where I started to think that that's how they were going to integrate Miles into the MCU. That was when I first thought that. And then they showed Toby and Andrew, and it was just kind of like, oh, okay. Oh, and they showed Tom as well.
The one thing about all this that's going to be a little weird, like, if they try to mix animation with live, like, it's going to be Cool World all over again.
Except it doesn't have to be because... Okay, I don't know if you remember the Nickelodeon Ninja Turtle series. Are you familiar with that at all?
How new or old?
It's not the latest, but I think it was the one before that. The one that Nickelodeon ran for like 6 seasons, which I thought was stupid, is actually quite good.
I'm not.
Okay, so all you need to know is Nickelodeon did a CG series for Ninja Turtles, and in one of those episodes, actually I think it's a 2-parter, but they go back to the like 87, 88, 89 Turtles. And here's the funny thing. They mix the animation styles, so when the new Turtles go to the old universe, it's traditionally animated, but then when they come back to their universe, the old Turtles are rendered in CG. So you share mediums. So that's why I'm saying...
So they looked just like the Turtles?
Correct. They still had the same character designs, but in the CG, they were CG. They didn't mix mediums.
Dude.
So for that reason, I think that if they're going to integrate live action, they're going to have a live action actor. Because you're right. It's not that they can't do it, but...
It's just going to be really weird.
Yeah.
Like
it's like you said, it'll be Toon World all over again.
Yeah.
Which was not an awful movie, but it was...
That was a great movie. What did I... No. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Well, that wasn't a bad movie either, but...
No. And then... Was there a Cool World movie?
Toon World. Yeah.
Toon World?
Yep.
I know there was a Cool World game.
I believe that's the one where Brad Pitt has sex with a cartoon, but I could be wrong.
That's it.
Yeah, that's Toon World, I believe. Or maybe it is Cool World. Hang on.
I think it is Cool World.
I think it is Cool World now that you say that.
Because that's the video game I know of.
Oh, yeah, it is Cool World. Good job. And it is Brad Pitt. Yep.
Speaking of Brad Pitt, man, good movies. He was in 12 Monkeys.
I go back and forth with Brad Pitt. I don't dislike Brad Pitt, but some of his movies are kind of... I don't know that I'd have done that. Which one? Yeah. God damn, you're going to put me on this. So I'm not saying Fight Club's... No, Fight Club's a decent movie. That's not a good...
It's a fantastic movie.
It's not fantastic.
It is fantastic.
It's all right.
It's fantastic.
I think a lot of people miss the meaning of what it's saying, though.
Yeah, they just blow up that building and play that cool song at the end.
Although the scene
that everyone's using on TikTok now.
Although the scene where Edward Norton beats the shit out of himself is unintentionally hilarious.
Bitch was crazy.
God damn, now you're putting me on the spot. Brad Pitt was awesome in Deadpool too, though.
He's like a liberal when you say define a woman.
What? Oh, because I can't think of one of the bad Brad Pitt movies.
You're really putting me on the spot here.
Okay, so here's a good example. This is a movie that I enjoyed it, but I admit it could have been done so much better, was Troy. And Brad Pitt was actually the entire casting of that movie, except for Eric Bana. He did quite good as Hector.
Yeah, but not so much as the Hulk.
Eric Bana?
You didn't know he was the Hulk?
No. What are you talking about?
Eric Bana. He was a Hulk in a movie.
Which one?
Either the Incredible Hulk or the Hulk or
The
something
Incredible
like that.
Hawk?
Hawk. Look it up, Sugar Plum.
I'm looking at Brad Pitt movies now.
Oh, he's a Brad Pitt.
Fucker.
I'm trying to help you, motherfucker.
I didn't care for him in Fury or World War Z.
World War Z was freaking dude. Like I swear to God, if freaking zombies apocalypse came out in World War Z, those were the type of zombies we all dead. How the hell did they survive?
He was amazing in 7, though. I'll give him that.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Everybody was good in 7. That was before, well, might have been before Kevin Spacey went completely insane.
Kevin Spacey was pretty creepy in that movie.
Detective! Love
Such
it.
a good movie.
And then Morgan Freeman is Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman goes to the
Don't come down now, yeah?
refrigerator, gets his bowl of milk and puts his cereal in because he does it backwards.
Wait, Morgan Freeman poured the milk first?
Morgan Freeman does not follow the rules.
That crazy bastard. Well, as usual, we've tried to review a movie and we just go...
Completely sideways, but that's how we do it here on the Average Intelligence Podcast.
we were talking about other cameos. And I'm sure, upon a second viewing, I'm sure I'd see more. But I did notice Ultimate Spider-Man from the animated series made an appearance. Which is a show... I've only seen one episode of that show, and it was the one where Deadpool guest stars. And there's a joke in that episode that should not be funny, but it's fucking hilarious. So, the premise of the episode is Deadpool used to work in their little superhero group that Spider-Man's part of, like the Junior Avengers or whatever they are. But he's gone solo, but he comes back because he needs to use their equipment. And it's... For a kid's show to integrate Deadpool, they do it probably the best way they possibly could. But there's... This joke is so bad, but I love it. So... Spider-Man and Deadpool are trying to break into some place, and then Spider-Man says something. Yeah, Spider-Man says, "Oh, there's booby traps," and then Deadpool comes in and goes, "He said traps." It shouldn't be funny.
The reason it's funny is because you know what he's implying.
Yes, and that's an example of dual-layered humor.
Just like most of the cartoons we watched growing up, all the adult jokes in them that just went over our heads, and then we watched as adults, we're like,
"Oh my god!"
They said that, and it's like Dexter's Laboratory. Remember that?
Yeah.
His mom had an absolute dump truck of a booty, and there was some scene, and it was showing, I believe something, and it said Dad's Trophy, and it was on her ass. Yeah. That shit was funny.
But it's so funny because I don't have a problem with that kind of humor, though, because it encourages parents to watch the shows with their kids. Because there's some shows that we watched growing up that I would might even still watch as an adult, just because, like, the humor, like, I've talked about it before, that show Dinosaurs, the Jim Henson one. That show's probably 10 times funnier as an adult.
Speaking of the Dinosaurs, the show.
Speaking of.
The last episode, man.
That's a fucking downer, dude.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, they're literally sitting there and they don't know what's going to happen, and then they just end the show.
But we know.
Like, we know.
That's like, there's a term for that, actually, and I just cannot remember what the fuck it is, but, like.
The audience knows.
Yeah, the audience knows exactly what's going to happen, but the people in the show are clueless. Now, there's always that glimmer of hope because obviously those aren't the dinosaurs from our universe, so maybe they turn shit around. But they managed to have an ominous, like, hard ending to a show that also sent a message to the kids because it's like, hey, look, like, we all know why it happened in the show. They're very clear about it. So it gives like I would say a non-forceful, this is before a climate change was as militant as it is. Well, like, we've always known we needed to take care of the earth, right?
But to think that we can actually change something,
well, to a point we can, but that the point of the show was like
enough to change it in like 5, 10 years, 20 years, like, you know, what
but
Al Gore say.
Well, yeah, but not with CO2. We could definitely do it with nuclear, though.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We have the capability. I'm not saying we are, but that was a less heavy-handed time when it was like, hey, kids, just don't litter. And I think that's interesting because I was thinking about that today. It's like, when did don't litter become you're going to kill the planet? Like, don't litter is perfectly acceptable for kids because not only is it good for the planet, but it's also good for other people. Like, like, if you want a kid to positively impact the planet, that's a great place to start because they're kids. They can't do fuck all. Greta Thunberg thinks she can do something, but she can't.
You know what's extremely funny about all the stuff that we make ourselves out of things on this earth, and we put it together in such a way that it's toxic for this earth, but it came from the earth, and we're just putting different... Everything comes from the earth that we use to make anything. Like, and I know that sounds extremely vague, but like, if say you're making bottles of water, I mean, you have to have those ingredients to make the bottles of water, the plastic and all that other stuff to make the plastic, but all that stuff came from the earth. So it's like the earth put together in certain ways is toxic to everything.
Well, yeah, because it goes off balance, which is one of my big pet peeves is when people are like, oh, this food has this chemical in it. It's like, yes, that chemical is lethal at certain amounts, but we're talking trace. Like, what's a really good example?
But they're glycol, propylene, and Mountain Dew. Yeah. Like, I think it's in Mountain Dew.
Yeah,
I do know it's in shampoos.
Yeah, like if you drink a gallon of it on its own, yes, you will probably...
But the thing is, though, all those chemicals added up over a lifetime.
Except your body processes and expels them. It's not like it's all locked in.
True, but the thing is, imagine all the chemicals we're using on our skin. Imagine all the food we're eating with chemicals in it. You're walking outside, you're getting pelted with chemicals. Like, people spray their yards with... I mean, my yard's sprayed with it's supposedly organic spray to stop mosquitoes. And actually, I'm gonna do a little commercial right now. If you need mosquito repellent in your yard, whatever you want to call it, Mosquito Joe's. Check them out here in Indiana. I don't know if they're in other states, but in Indiana, it's pretty good. Works for me.
Well, but it's funny you mentioned that because a lot of people don't know this, but you're 100% right. But there have been times throughout history where we have...
Right about what?
Like shit being in the air. Because, like, for example, do you know why your gas says that it's unleaded?
Was it just a process that used certain lead to...
No, there used to be...
Refine it with or something?
No, there used to be literal lead in gasoline. And I'm trying to find...
Yeah, I assume it was some type of refining process and it left lead in it because... Natural oil, it's like, what do they cut that with?
Hang on, I'm gonna find it.
I don't know how gas is made.
Well,
magnets, how do they work?
Magnets, yo.
It's just like the nature of politics, polarizing. It's fucking hot in here.
What is this guy's fucking name?
Titty Pincher.
It's Stacy something. But I always...
The name's Gwen Stacy.
Name's Glenn Stacy.
The name's Glenn Stacy. I'm Spider-Man.
Peter. God damn it, where is it? I'll find it, I promise.
Fuck. I gotta turn this fan on. It's hot. Oh, hey, we got 3 viewers.
Woohoo!
Welcome.
Sorry, I'm looking up somebody's name. He's very important because this man.
What was it about?
Oh, I'll find the name, but I'm going to tell you the story. It's Stacy something or other. This gentleman was tasked by the government to try to measure how old the Earth is. Okay, I know where it is. Sorry. I'll
There's
find it.
people out there that believe the Earth is 8,000 years old.
Yeah, well, those people are wrong.
They're called creationists.
Literal creation. Okay, where is it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, you created a rumor. It's like flat earthers.
Okay, no, I was... Sorry, it wasn't Stacy. I'm sorry. It was Claire Patterson.
Oh, was she a Spider-Man?
It was a he.
She was a Spider-Man.
So, long story short, and I'm giving you the very condensed version. If you want to hear a much better version of this story, the show Cosmos: A Space-Time Odyssey, not Oddity, A Space-Time Odyssey. It's episode 7 that deals with this. So basically, this scientist was tasked by the U.S. government to try to calculate the literal age of the Earth. So it's funny you brought out that people think the Earth is only 6,000 or 8,000 years old or whatever. And he was doing this by measuring the decay rate of lead in the Earth versus some meteorites that they knew the age. I think I'm getting this right. But the problem we kept running into was there was too much lead for whatever reason. So he built one of the first clean rooms so that he could, because he figured out that there was lead in the air for some reason. Well, he successfully calculated the age of the Earth, but then he was like, wait a minute, what the fuck's up with all this lead in the atmosphere and in the air? And people are, because we all know lead is toxic to humans. He figured out that it was emissions from gasoline. So now here's the interesting part.
And this was a iteration of Spider-Man?
No, this is actually happened.
Oh.
No, this
I'm
is
sorry.
real.
I got lost.
No, this is real. You were talking about things like being toxic
okay.
in the air.
Sorry.
So, but anyway, so this gentleman testified before Congress, and Big Oil hired scientists to disprove him, saying the lead in gasoline is nowhere near toxic levels. And he fought for, I think, decades, and then finally got them to regulate gasoline to be without lead.
Like, you're saying that, like, all around, well, anywhere he was,
at the time,
there was lead in the air?
Like, stupid amounts of lead.
That's
Ridiculous amounts of lead. At one point, even went to the North Pole to take a sample from ice sample, right, to see if it could measure lead in the atmosphere. And he determined that it was in the literal atmosphere. And it was from, so, I mean, you know, I think that a lot of the climate change stuff is a little bit alarmist, but there's precedent for those types of emissions to be present all across the planet.
I would say, obviously, lead and carbon are 2 different elements.
Oh, 100%.
So
they do different
therefore,
things.
Yeah, but, like, carbon in the atmosphere, like, there's been times on this planet, according to the, what is it, the sediment, where they tested it in certain ages, and carbon, there was more carbon in the air. Like, and the funny thing is,
but
we were talking about dinosaurs earlier. Dinosaurs, on the time when the planet supposedly had dinosaurs on it. I'm not going to say it's true or not because I don't know.
Well, it did have dinosaurs.
I'm just saying, you know, those bones could be put together with something else.
Oh, come on. We had
I
dinosaurs.
want to believe in dinosaurs.
Man, dinosaurs existed.
But listen, so...
Don't be one of those guys.
But there was more oxygen in the atmosphere when they were around, and we actually couldn't survive. Like, we would eventually slowly...
Well, I don't know
die.
about that.
Yeah, too much oxygen saturation.
Well, but there were well, I guess not at the time of the but there you're right. There were more times, and actually that's why you'll find fossilized insects that are gigantic by comparison, because the way insects breathe through pores in their body. They don't have lungs like we do. So the reason a lot of them are so small is because there's not enough oxygen to sustain them. but way back, pre-dinosaurs.
Can you imagine the size of a freaking mosquito?
Well, there were dragonflies the size of like hawks.
Have you seen Land of the
Fuck
Lost
that.
with Will
No,
Ferrell?
we've talked about it. I need to.
Dude, he gets bit by a giant freaking mosquito, and is the funniest thing ever because you remember the old. Did you ever watch the old series? Maybe just like one.
I've
or
seen
two
it
episodes?
before. Yeah.
You remember the Land of the Lost? He starts singing that, dude, and it's so funny because he's just like the land, because he's running out of blood because this thing's on his back. And he's like the land, and he turns around, dude, and this thing is like ginormous on his back, and he's just like, they're just like, you got it on you, and he's like, ah! Yeah, it's funny.
I'm kind of curious now. I want to go back and watch that show, and because I remember liking it when I was younger.
See how it stands up today.
Oh, it's probably a Once Upon a Forest effect.
Probably be like watching Sliders, which actually holds up fairly decent.
Holy shit!
Do you remember that movie or show?
Yeah.
That was a good show.
Speaking of shows that don't hold up at all, do you remember Street Sharks?
Street Sharks?
Street Sharks.
No.
So this was during the time when like it was post like the Major Ninja Turtle craze, but I would say it's kind of a spin-off. This is when they were coming out with a bunch of toy lines, and then those toy lines were getting animated shows to help sell the toys. So it's mutated humans, but they're sharks instead. I remember that show being really good when I was a kid. Holy shit, it looks like ass, man. Like even like the mouth flaps don't match. Like the animation is the shits.
Yeah.
And it's off. Everybody sounds like a goddamn surfer. Like it's terrible.
Hey, yo,
Like
bro.
at one point, dude's talking and his mouth's not moving. He's just like, "Hey guys, come check this out."
It's terrible.
Like it's worse than some anime I've seen.
Oh. Well, this was a terrible review.
Oh, well, I'm gonna bitch about Space Ghost now. Talk about lazy. Like, I went back and watched some of the old Cartoon Planet things. They didn't even try to make the mouth movements match.
They didn't have to because they had us dumb kids watching it.
I know, but come on. That's one thing we got to change. We have the technology now. Listen, let's revive Space Ghost Coast to Coast. And then if that does well, we can revive Cartoon Planet. But come on. Like, we can reanimate this shit, which I guess part of the reason it was so funny is because it was old recycled animation. But we can do better.
Like, definitely bring back Brack.
That's so there's the other question. If we revive Space Ghost Coast to Coast...
You have to revive every character from the universe.
Well, I know, but in Space Ghost Coast to Coast, it was Space Ghost, Zorak, and Moltar. Or do we bring Brack...
Brack, Zorak, and Space Ghost.
That's for Cartoon Planet, though. We got Brack got his own show, though. A lot of people forget that.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
I think you can revive all of them, frankly. But Space Ghost Coast to Coast would be so great right now because of how we do interviews now. Like, it would totally work.
Everybody literally interviews just like that. Like, I
Just the like I think Space Ghost Coast to Coast may have been before its time because now Zach Galifianakis is doing something really similar.
Two Ferns.
Yeah. Oh God, did you see the one he did with Hillary Clinton?
When he basically called her out.
Well, no, and then he cut to a Donald Trump ad. I don't like Zach Galifianakis at all, but that shit was funny because he said something about Donald Trump, and then he was like, maybe you should try it. And she was like, I don't think so. He's like, okay, well, we have to cut to our sponsor. And then fucking Donald Trump.
You know how I first but saw Zach Galifianakis was not what you think.
It wasn't The Hangover?
No, it was from a movie called Out Cold. And the movie was about snowboarding.
Sounds awful.
And he was a drunk in the movie. And he would always, I'm pretty sure it was him, but he would always pass out at the bar. And so when he did pass out, all his buddies round him up, put him in his truck, and they went outside, and it's like there's snow on the ground and ice. So they get in the car, and then everybody starts spinning the car while he's in there, and then they all just start screaming at the same time. Ah! And he wakes up, he's like, ah!
How did he go?
I can't do it again.
Ah! Okay, let's try to bring this back around to Spider-Man one more time. So where do you think Well, we've kind of already covered that.
Arkansas.
Arkansas. Well, I think there's going to be a big spider battle in the next movie, and I honestly can't wait for that shit.
If they don't incorporate Madam Web, I'm just saying, like, everybody's, well, I'm sorry. Everybody was about women. Not anymore.
What?
Everybody was about women. Remember? Everybody was wanting to empower women. And then now that the trans movement is here, everybody wants to do that. And they don't care about women now.
I still think Gwen Stacy's a woman.
Glenn Stacy.
Gwen Stacy.
Wasn't that old boy's name in, did you ever watch Employee of the Month with Dane Cook? Wasn't the boss's name Glenn?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Which actually, I have a soft spot for Employee of the Month because that reminds me so much of my time at Walmart. It's not even funny.
Dude, Dane Cook has announced. Well, he doesn't announce, but he asked if everyone would want to see a number 2, and I was like, dude, like
I don't know.
I was like, I don't think it's gonna work.
I don't think so. It's a different time.
Yeah, like how are you gonna get? Who was
well,
it?
not to mention,
Jessica
isn't he like 50 now?
And he looks old as shit.
Yeah, but it's
I'm not
like
even trying to be mean, but like he looks old as shit.
like you
life
can't
hit him hard.
you can't get away with that thing when you're fucking 50. Although, what did he say? This is a 1988 Honda.
How dare you? That shit was so funny.
I'll tell the story because, like, you know how they have the clubhouse in Employee of the Month.
Which was so awesome.
We had one at Walmart, not exactly the same, but pretty similar. And what was funny is we had that before So I saw Employee of the Month, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so funny. I'll tell that story another time unless somebody comments and wants to hear it, but it's quite funny. Spider-Man. So have you heard the rumors that Tom Holland is stepping away from Hollywood for a moment? I don't buy it for a fucking second.
No, considering he just signed off on a new 3-movie deal.
Right.
They're not gonna wait forever for him.
No, I understand he's taking a break, and that's fine. Like, I get that. Fucker deserves it.
Fucker fruitcake.
Fucker. I almost called him a fucker, and I'm like, well, that's a bit mean, don't you think? But
he has an insane American accent.
it's quite good.
And he sounds just like.
Although I heard
American
him talking
kid.
about that once, and I have to take issue with something he said.
Quacksant.
No, he said that the American accent is easy because the British enunciate everything and they pronounce all their consonants, and I'm like, in what fucking universe, governor?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, in what fucking universe?
What are you talking about, you son of a bitch?
Now, maybe in, like, proper London British, but even then, yeah, so maybe he's got a point. Like, in that proper, but even then, they really loop together a lot of their vowels. You know? It's a terrible British accent, but you get what I'm saying.
Was that terrible British accent supposed to be me?
I'm Spider-Punk.
Oh, I'm Albert Snow. Bullshit.
Harry!
Underrated movie, by the way.
Which I'm going to call bullshit. I thought the Brits didn't pronounce the H. Why is it Harry Potter and not Harry Potter?
It depends on which Brit you're talking to.
Hey, Ron Weasley distinctly yelled, Harry! Some bullshit. It's not.
Yeah, but then you got other people like Harry Potter.
You're a wizard, Harry.
The Night Watchman. What is he?
Oh, the Night Bus.
No, not the Night Bus. The Night Watchman with the cat. Filch.
Oh, Filch. Yeah.
Filch. He'd be like, they're out of bed. I can smell children. I don't know where I was going with that, but I felt like he said Harry Potter.
Well, that's really funny. I almost said, thank God there wasn't a British Spider-Man, but he's just so forgettable.
Spider-Punk.
Spider bitch.
No, dude, he was just...
He's awful.
He was looking for his American woman. Or, how'd that song go? Was it American Woman? No, that's another band.
Stay away from me.
That's another band. What did Lenny Kravitz
that was Lenny
sing?
Kravitz.
No.
He did a cover of American Woman, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's funny because you said earlier he looked like Lenny Kravitz. He said he did. He was looking for his American woman.
Listen here, just like a $5 hooker. You ready to wrap it up?
Oh my God. $5.
A $5 Wonder Island cooler.
Well, we apologize for this episode.
No, we don't.
No, we don't care. Seriously, though, take a look at that thumbnail. See if you can pick out your favorite Spider-Man. But look closely. Some of the inclusions may surprise you.
And if you made it this far,
thank you.
Leave a like and subscribe.
And we do apologize for some of the inconsistency, but I think we have a system for next time. Although this isn't terrible.
No, it's not that bad. If I would just keep the microphone.
You have to keep the
closer
big
to my
black
face.
microphone in your face.
No. Talking
Oh.
about Spider-Punk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
He seems like the kind of guy where Glenn State, Jesus. I'm just saying, he seems like the kind of guy who might try to put something in Gwen Stacy's drink. That's all I'm saying.
You look like the kind of guy that could give a guy a reach around and not have the goddamn common courtesy to fuck it up.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
You look like the kind of guy who'd fuck somebody in the ass and not have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around.
That's the way it goes.
That's the way it goes. That is the way. And that's
the way the cookie crumbles. I like it. I like it.
What's that from?
Bruce Almighty.
That's right.
Another great movie.
Heaven Almighty,
Especially
not so much.
when, that one was terrible. Especially when Morgan Freeman was shocking him. Claire. Ouch. Claire.
Oh. God,
All right,
I hope we get Spider-Man 4, Amazing Spider-Man 3. We get to see Tom Holland's rebirth. Where do you think they're going to go with Tom Holland? Because they got to incorporate Venom at some point, but I hope they don't do it in the next movie. I hope they do it in the middle of that trilogy.
I honestly, my opinion on Tom Holland, something is going to happen that's somewhat, really, bad.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Similar to the universe's fracturing.
Oh, I'll tell you what's going to happen.
I hope and pray we get Spider Carnage. Because the thing is, if Spider Carnage, because he lost Mary Jane and he went insane and he had the symbiote. And he wanted to just destroy every single universe similar to, every other villain. Because he's mad about something. He lost his Mary Jane. But anyway, it sounds like he lost his pot. But anyway.
No, that's what Spider-Punk is mad about.
he lost Mary Jane, so he's insane, and he wants to destroy everybody. I think that would be really cool. And, no, that wouldn't work because it has to be Peter Parker. I was going to say they could bring back Cletus Cassidy, but
yeah,
that wouldn't work because.
Well, I'm going to
Cletus
tell you what is going to happen, and mark my words. Next movie. Ned Leeds becomes the Hobgoblin, and it's going to tear Peter apart because Peter remembers who Ned is, but Ned doesn't remember who Peter is.
Hobgoblin was literally just a terrible villain because he was just a reiteration of another villain, not original. I didn't care for the Hobgoblin.
Fun fact, though, in Spider-Man the Animated Series, Hobgoblin was introduced first.
That's true. Fuck.
Which made no sense in the animated series because you're right, Hobgoblin is just kind of a ripoff of Green Goblin. But
yeah, because actually I believe Hobgoblin in the 94 series, Hobgoblin Dam came around first.
yes, he did in the series. I think, wasn't he not in the first episode? I could be wrong on
Probably.
that. I want to say he was. But, yeah.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Don't tell Harry.
And remember, don't tell Harry.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
That line was so good.
And Willem Dafoe, the way he delivered it, he knew exactly what he was doing.
I'm somewhat of a scientist myself.
The way it was 50% in character, but 50% tongue in cheek in the perfect way. So he knew exactly what he was doing.
We need a Joker with him. He's got the mouth for it.
You know what? Actually, if they did a live action version hear me out. If they did a live action version of either The Dark Knight Returns or even Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, which is a fantastic movie. But Willem Dafoe would be good for either one because he's a little bit older now, so he'd have to play an older Joker. But I don't know, man.
I mean, they did fairly well with his fighting scenes. I mean, so...
Yeah. Although, okay, this one's going to be controversial. And
I mean,
then
obviously I knew it wasn't him. But...
Okay, this is going to be slightly controversial, but then we're going to wrap it up. Which has been your favorite iteration of Spider-Man ever?
The 94
The 94
series.
cartoon? I got to think on this one.
It's a tie, actually. The 94 animated series. And on Netflix, they did an original, I believe, Spider-Man Ultimate.
Ultimate Spider-Man, yeah.
And Drake Bell
Yep.
voiced it, and it was a very good series.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think I can... It's a cop-out. I don't think I can pick one.
Yeah, I was going to say...
It's really hard.
Those two are tied for first, and then everything else is tied for second. Except Spider-Man 3.
I don't know. I'm like...
We don't talk about
This is a
3.
controversial choice here. Not elements of the story at all, but as far as Spider-Man and Peter Parker... I gotta say Andrew Garfield's. As a character, in terms of the story.
Dude, Andrew Garfield, that motherfucker can act. That's the problem. Well, that's not the problem. That's the best part. Like, that dude can act. He can really act.
Yeah.
Like him on The Social Network.
So good.
Great acting.
Have you seen Hacksaw Ridge?
No.
Dude, he adopts a full-blown, like, Virginian accent to play Desmond Doss, and he sounds just like the fucker. Sounds just like the guy. Like, you hear his voice and you're like, oh, yeah, he's from Virginia. But you know he's a fucking Brit.
He's an American Brit.
Is he?
I don't know. He just has such a... He's so...
You know what? No, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think you might...
Probably born there and then came here for a while or
like
something.
Tate. Well, no, I think it's the opposite. I think he was... TikTok. You know who should play Spider-Man?
No.
No, not at all.
Tristan.
That'd be hilarious.
Tristan has more of the bill.
No, Tristan would just be like, Green Goblin has a bus and my girlfriend hanging off the side of a bridge. Fuck the bitch. Fuck the kids too. I'm going to have a cigar. Somebody told me I did a good Tristan Tate. I don't think so, but I mean, whatever.
Well,
thank you.
You know what I can hear?
What?
I can hear forever.
What?
And they say that a hero can save us.
Yeah, for me, Tobey Maguire was a little bit too
Emotional. Emo.
No.
He really showed his emo side in number 3. Yeah. That shit was terrible.
I hated it. But no, Tobey Maguire was always a little too boy next door. Not boy next door.
When this boy meets next door.
No, he just always kind of looked like a little kid until like now.
Was he in Pleasantville?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like now that he's older, I feel like he's probably grown into the Spider-Man. Like he was a very good mentor role in No Way Home, which is probably because he's by far the oldest one. But I just think that, and plus he didn't have super great quips, and Spider-Man fans know how clever Spider-Man is.
Who? Oh, Peter. Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, he's like, what do you call him at one point? Gobby. It's just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, and then, oh, did your boyfriend get you that? I was like, that was funny.
That was funny, but it's not. Now, again, and this is the script. This isn't necessarily, but the way he sold it, is you got Andrew Garfield with the small knives bit. Is hilarious.
Oh no, my biggest weakness, it's small knives.
Oh no, he's got a knife. Oh, it's my biggest weakness. It's a small knife.
Dude, when he's like, and then that
And
look
then,
he gives.
yeah, how the fuck does he convey that behind a mask? That's talent. Just the head tilt, and it's
he brings it and he's just like,
that's talent, man. That's So subtle. There's another actor that did it too. Well, I mean, Pedro Pascal in The Mandalorian.
I've never seen The Mandalorian yet.
First season's really good. Second season's okay. I haven't watched past it yet, but he's really good at that too. He's under a helmet for pretty much all the show.
Is he Boba?
No, he's Din Djarin, the Mandalorian.
Oh, I don't know.
But he's under a mask most of the time. But it's weird, and like there's no semblance of a face, and yet he conveys a lot of nonverbal emotion, and he does it really well. But Andrew Garfield's almost second to none with his ability to act behind a mask, particularly.
Well, body language, like he's
but that's what I'm saying. That's
vocal
hard to
with
do. That's very hard to do because a lot of what we express is facially.
Mm-hmm.
But he manages to do that behind the mask, and that's.
Well, the black eyes in the first one helped, but the thing is, they removed those in the second one and turned them like gold.
Did they? I don't recall that.
Yeah, in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, they made the eyes gold versus black, and the black eyes in the first one, they look sick.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. And I noticed that, and I'm not faulting Andrew Garfield for this. I'm mainly faulting the director and editor. It's just not as good acting all around, which I think that film got the shit cut out of it because a lot of it just doesn't make sense. Like how random it is with him and Harry. It's like, oh, look, there's this person we've never fucking seen or heard about. And all of a sudden, oh, yeah, they were best friends when they were 10. The fuck?
And they don't even act like it. Like,
that's what I'm saying. But I think that has more to do with, well, first of all, there's lack of chemistry in the actors, probably. But then also, I think there were scenes that were cut. I feel like I read that somewhere. I could be wrong. The voice actor for Miles Morales, though, in both movies is very good, very talented.
And we also looked him up right after the movie, and
he could
easily play the live action version.
Yeah, he easily could. Which I think might be, see, I said it before and I'll say it again. I think that these Spider-Verse movies are proving grounds because, like now they obviously have a successful film franchise, but when they did Into the Spider-Verse, it wasn't a huge risk, so they could afford to take a lot of risks in that movie, and they all paid off. But it was, I think they agreed, I think somebody had an idea, and then Sony and or Disney came to them and said, yeah, we'll let you do this idea because we want to see if we can sell this idea of a multiverse. See if audiences will take it. And they really took to it. And then what happens only a couple years later, you get Spider-Man No Way Home. And the MCU starts going multiverse crazy. So now I think you're going to see expansion on that, and it's going to be yet another proving ground. I think this one's already another proving ground. Check this out. This is the first time you've seen mixed media because you've had live action characters in an animated universe.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll see if they can. I think it's better if you incorporate live action people into the animated world. I think it's going to be real iffy if you can put animated characters in the real world.
Kind of like with what they did with Across the Universe.
The
one character, Prowler.
Oh yeah, you're talking about this movie, yeah.
Donald Glover.
Yeah, but then you saw he was fully integrated though, wasn't he? I feel like there was one other in the background, but I could be wrong.
I think I only saw him. There might have been another one.
They showed clips from
different
the Spider-Man movies, but yeah, no, sorry. But so I think we're going to see an expansion on that sort of multiverse idea. And if it does, which it's already done well. So I think you're going to see the MCU incorporate that. Although this might be a proving ground into inserting Miles Morales into the MCU. That might be their main proving ground with this one.
That would actually be really awesome if they did that.
I agree, because they would have done it right, which goes to show you, like, this isn't about race. It's not even about gender, because I wouldn't mind seeing... You could get Emma Stone back to do a live-action Gwen... Or you can get somebody else. Like, it's whatever. I guess you wouldn't get...
A lot of people loved Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy.
I did. I liked Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy.
Like... I'm not going to say, like, she's a fantastic actor, because honestly...
She is.
Everything she's
FYI.
in... Everything she's in, she seems the same to me. And I'm okay with that because I like her as an actor.
Not... Well, okay. So, I agree with you to a point. Because I'm sure you haven't seen La La Land, but surprisingly good movie. considering like it's kind of a I always call it a surreal musical because it's about Hollywood though, so it kind of like it works. It's basically a movie where like they're not in a musical, but they are because they break into random song and dance all the time. But music's a major theme, so it makes sense. But yeah, there are some Emma Stone elements. Yeah, I see what you're saying. But it's okay because she's charming as hell.
She was amazing in Zombieland.
Yeah, she was. But Zombieland's amazing.
Yeah, I love it when old boy cock blocks him and he's just like, dude, you're like a fucking robot built in a secret lab or something like that. I don't know.
Well, Woody Harrelson. We've already established Woody Harrelson as a national fucking treasure. And what was that he went out and was talking about a lot? I think it was COVID, but we're not going to get into that.
He's an anti-vaxxer, and then on top of that, he's
well, is he an
strictly vegan?
Oh, see, nobody's perfect.
Oh, fun fact: the movie Zombieland, the Twinkies that he ate, they had to make them specially for him because he's vegan. Yeah. I think that's interesting.
Why did you have to ruin part of my opinion of Woody Harrelson? Oh, well. And like I said, nobody's perfect. Well, buddy, you want to wrap this up because I know I'm getting tired. Yeah. It looks like it's frozen. Thank you for enjoying this episode of the Average Intelligence Podcast. As always, hopefully you're a little bit less average and a little bit more intelligent, but we can hope, but it's probably not true. As always, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It all helps the algorithm and helps us upgrade like we tried to do tonight, but we'll reconfigure, and you'll love it, God damn it. But if you don't care about our improvements and would prefer to listen to the podcast rather than watch it, you can be lame on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Amazon, YouTube Music, because we are on YouTube Music as well. It works in the app. And as always, you can check out all the content via artemedia.org. And be sure to check out the new podcasts on the Arte Podcast Network, part of your Broadway world. Their debut episode will be Friday, June 16th, where they will be comparing the live action, the stage adaptation. Wait, I got that fucked up. The original 1989 animated feature, the Broadway production, the live stage production, and the new live action production of The Little Mermaid in their debut episode.
Nice.
So I'm actually quite excited about that, and plus the thumbnail looks awesome.
I'm looking forward to it.
Maybe. I made one thumbnail, but they wanted to try to make their own version and see which one they liked better.
Did they use Canva?
Oh, fuck yeah, they did.
Canva.
But actually, so if you want to see the thumbnail I created for them, if you create a podcast and you join the Arate Podcast Network, you get access to a hidden YouTube playlist of tutorial videos. And in the video where I create a thumbnail in camera, it's in Canva, it's that thumbnail that I made for the Little Mermaid episode.
Oh, shit. I hit the wrong button, and it stopped streaming.
Oh, well.
That was like, keep them coming back.